Hello, you're listening to Hugo Talks, and today I'm talking about Ireland. And I just noticed this, a pop-up workshop for the Great Reset in Ireland. It says here, Great Reset Workshop to be hosted online. Look at the picture, look at that photograph. Doesn't look like a barrel of laughs. Somebody stuck indoors all on their own in a very dark room, looking out of the window. Now, this is what it says here. Creative minds in advertising, marketing, the media and PR are invited to take part in a Great Reset workshop hosted by the Purpose Disruptors to respond to and collaborate in tackling climate breakdown at 1 p.m. this Friday. Now, if you've been following my channel, you've heard me talking about the Great Reset and how a lot of this is tied into the pandemic and these lockdowns, the Great Reset coming from the World Economic Forum and their partnership with the United Nations and their Agenda 2030, wanting basically to change everything in the future, bringing in digital IDs, health passports, complete social surveillance, no cash. They call it the Fourth Industrial Revolution on their website, a complete financial reset. They talk about wiping all debts and how the public will be happy having no assets and not owning their own property and so forth. And this ain't no secret. They are stating publicly that they want to use the pandemic to bring all of this in. Now, some people have suggested that the overreaction of putting countries into lockdowns could have been exaggerated in order to expedite financial problems for them countries, economical problems, which then these policies of the Great Reset could then be utilized as an answer to the problems at some point in the future. This is what some people are suggesting. Now, Ireland is a country that isn't getting talked about much within this whole lockdown. Ireland is not financially the strongest country in the world, and yet they have been put in a 6-week lockdown up until December the 1st. And unlike a lot of the other countries, their fatality statistics in relation to the virus are very low. I mean, we're talking about an average of 4 a day, and yet a 6-week national lockdown is still in place, which I would imagine will decimate the country financially in the future. It's crazy, and I guess that's why we don't hear that much talk about Ireland, because if they did and started mentioning the figures, people would be saying, well, what the hell are they doing that for? So anyway, I see this today, the Great Reset Workshop to be hosted online, organised by the Purpose Disruptors, which is a company which is run by Jonathan Wise, who also works with the World Resources Institute, which is part of the World Economic Forum. So this is the same Great Reset campaign, although it's hard to tell as all of these individual organizations and individual websites don't link to the World Economic Forum, and they use different logos for the Great Reset, but it's the same, as they share the same concepts and the philosophies, and when you look into the people running it, they all link back to the World Economic Forum. So this Great Reset Workshop in Ireland, it says here, the goal of the gathering is to get input from across the industry and identify areas and themes for collective action. Together, the group will discuss the vision for the movement, the kinds of change they wish to see, and measurements of success as plans are put in place for next year. So they are planning ahead for next year, when the majority of everybody else, their jobs, businesses, all of this is getting put on hold, their lives. We don't know what's going to happen. Everything is up in the air at the moment. But these people, they're planning for next year. Then it gives a list of companies they are working with. All of these ones. And I don't recognize any of them. There must be Irish companies. The only one there I recognise is RTE, which is the BBC of Ireland, state-run broadcaster. You have to pay your Irish TV licence to the RTE, and if anything, like the BBC, I'd imagine complete propaganda coming out of them. It then goes on to say, to date, 3 Great Reset Island community gatherings have already taken place alongside several PR industry specific workshops. In interviews with 1,000 Irish adults, a B&A study for the Great Reset showed that 90% of people believe that the advertising industry should encourage people to behave more sustainably, like during lockdown. And then it waffles on some more. So it's basically a number of organizations working and trying to persuade creative people in industries to push the concept of the Great Reset in articles, in newspapers, on social media, on television, in all sorts of ways. And this one is specific to Ireland, and I believe they do the same in the UK. So I just thought that was something interesting to show you. I know some people have said this stuff isn't going on, but it is clearly on many different levels. And this is more of a media influence level and planning for next year, planning for the future level. So as always, thanks for listening. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. And I'm going to put this video about the Great Reset I made last week. For anybody who doesn't really understand what this is all about, I'm going to put it on now so you can watch it here. I'll see you later. Hello, you're listening to Hugo Talks. So in the UK we have Boris announcing a 4-week national lockdown yesterday, which starts on Thursday, the 5th of November, Bonfire Night, Guy Fawkes Day, of all days. And of course, that is no surprise. And already this morning, we have talk in the press of how it could very well continue into Christmas. We have had Boris Johnson appearing on the Andrew Marr show saying that they need to get the R rating down to below 1 before they open things up again. And you know what? That's not going to happen anytime soon. Numerous other ministers saying that, it could extend into Christmas. This is how the psychology works. This is how it's applied through the press, through the media. This is why the government subsidises newspapers like the Daily Fail and the Daily Useless and the Sun and the Mirror, because they are an extension of the government. And a lot of the time they use it to prime the public, to prime you with what is to come, to get you used to the idea so that when you hear about it in the future, it doesn't come as some sort of shock to the system and you won't get as angry as you might have done if you had heard it just coming out of nowhere. Because you have already been primed with the concept. You've already subliminally accepted it. So what are they telling us they are going to do next? Well, it's possibly going to extend into Christmas. We then have articles telling the public that this lockdown is going to cost you. There's going to be massive tax bills next year to pay for all of this. And then we have politicians calling for a universal basic income. Now this seems to fit with the story. There was a leaked document from a Canadian MP a few weeks back which talked of a roadmap to the Great Reset. I don't know if this is real or not. I never mentioned it before because I don't know, it could be fake. But the document listed in detail what the governments around the world were going to do up until mid-2021. And one of the things on the list was introduce universal basic income everywhere in every country. And when they introduce this, they will slowly phase in a cashless society. And so far, this list, this Canadian MP leaked list, is looking eerily spot on. As yesterday, bang on time, we had these articles and MPs asking for a universal basic income to be introduced next year. We already know that in Germany, they have introduced a universal basic income as a trial. Now, if you don't understand what the Great Reset is, there's a link in the comments to a video I made yesterday about it. It's a short, concise video to explain to people what is going on. Please share it with friends and family, or to anybody who may not be aware of what is going on. As always, thanks for listening. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Press the notification bell if you want to be notified in the future when I upload videos.